Thank you guys for having me. This is lovely. How's it going?
Alfie, you're looking great. You got the little jungle Chinese money plant or something with you.
This is the fruit of my labor. I was running around for the last 5 minutes thinking, where do I point the camera so it looks good? Because if I just put it here, which is a desk, it's just a blank wall. And I thought the good people watching at home deserve better than just a blank wall. So this is what I've conjured up.
What everyone wants to see out there is what you've got going on in your cupboard. So you've led us into that one too.
Yeah, that was more by accident than design, but I think it's good. You know, it breaks up the image a bit, gives you something a bit exciting to look at if I don't say anything interesting. So I'm just looking out for the viewer there.
Well, Alfie, it's awesome to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining.
No worries.
We've already got questions streaming in, and I'm going to try and get to as many of these questions as I can before we're out of time. So I'm wary of our time slot. Just to kick things off, you had an early start to acting because you got involved with films as a child. Has that been a great thing? Tell us a little bit about the way you got into acting and kind of what you learned as a kid growing up on set.
Yeah, it was a gift, right? I mean, I have my whole career to thank for the way everything began for me. Because you can draw a kind of very neat through line through the start of my career to now, not least because I have the same agent that I got when I was sort of 11 years old or something. So I have a lot to be grateful, and that obviously was a wonderful thing to be exposed to the industry at an early age, but in small doses. So to sort of tell the story a bit more coherently, because I'm jumping about. My dad's an actor. So I grew up watching him in plays and watching movies that he'd done. And at a very early age, I thought that sounds like a fun thing to do for a living, if you can make a living doing that. And it seems that you can. So I thought, I'm gonna try and do that. So my dad sort of found little opportunities for me to sort of perform and work on acting because I was showing an interest. So he kind of nurtured my love for it. And I ended up, performing a sonnet for Shakespeare's birthday. That was something to do with the Globe at like 7 years old or something. When I was 10, I did a play with the National Youth Music Theatre about child actors in Shakespeare's time. That was on at the Globe, and then that went on a tour. And then some of the casting team for Harry Potter saw me in that and asked if I wanted to audition for Harry Potter. And there's a bit of a story about that, but I'll go into that later. But basically I said yes. I thought, given they've asked. And so I ended up doing that, and I did that for 10 years. So from 11 to 21, I had the good fortune of being in the Harry Potter films. My dad said once I got that part, he said, "You're probably going to need an agent now. This is a real deal." So he found me an agent who I'm still with today. I went to uni, finished uni, and I was able to sort of get out there and start working because I was in a position where I had an agent and I had some kind of credits behind me. And I sort of just got lucky and luckier and luckier and managed to keep working. And so yeah, I had the beginning, I don't know about set the tone, but at least is responsible for everything. So I'm very, very grateful for those early opportunities.
Alfie, we won't ask every question about Harry Potter, but my first question about it is, if there was a real world sorting hat, would you be put in Gryffindor? Very
much so. I'm easy to sort. That kind of universally gets said. But I think it, my friends think it, and I did Pottermore? There's that website that like sorts you and you answer questions. Got sorted into Gryffindor, and it's cast iron, nailed on.
Easy.
Sorry, go ahead, Walter.
No, I was going to say, going back, do tell us about how that audition worked then, when you first went up for Harry Potter.
So the first I knew of Harry Potter was the book. Actually the first time around we'd started reading the book, we were in year 4, I think, we were like 8 years old, and our English teacher started reading with us, and nobody really liked it, and we dropped it. We actually stopped reading the book. I think we didn't finish the book because like no one had any interest. Then I don't know how it came about, but about a year later, someone obviously picked it up again, read it, and then it just caught like wildfire. All those kids who hadn't been interested, a year before, picked it up, loved it, got into it. So by the time The Chamber of Secrets came out, I was hooked. That was the first book I like stayed up all night reading, and a proper sort of head under the covers, sort of in the Chamber of Secrets. I mean, I remember it was like one of the most exciting reading experiences of my life. So it was I think just after that they announced they were making the movie. So I knew this was going to be a big deal. Or at least I thought it was going to be a big deal because it was a big deal to me. And they sent a casting team to my school and auditioned basically anyone who was up for auditioning because they had to find a huge cast of child actors. I didn't audition. I didn't audition because, truthfully, because I thought there are no parts for black actors. There's one black guy in Harry Potter, that's Lee Jordan, on the basis of the first two books. That was before like Kingsley Shacklebolt and maybe other black characters who come in. And I remember having this thought, I was like, no, Dean Thomas. I thought Dean Thomas could maybe be black. And I just remember just that little nugget was in my head, but I ended up not doing it. I ended up not auditioning. And so when they came around and asked me, I thought, oh, I played this one right, you know. Wait for them to come to you. It's a risky strategy. I wouldn't advise that for anyone, but I just got very, very fortunate. And sure enough, I auditioned first of all for Lee Jordan because that was the part that was explicitly a black part. And so I auditioned for Lee Jordan, and I remember thinking, this is stupid because Lee Jordan's much older. I was really sort of into the books and I knew it. I was like, I'm not old enough to play Lee Jordan. Lee Jordan's that Fred and George's mate. I mean, this is, and sure enough, they said, oh, that was great, but we don't think you're quite old enough to play Lee Jordan. I was like, duh. They were like, but we'd like you to play Dean Thomas. I was like, oh. And that's how it began.
Unbelievable. So cool.
And so
I was very lucky.
Most of these kids who are enjoying this and loving this and all texting us in about Pottermore and which houses they're in and stuff, they hadn't even been born when we were this age and you were doing this. So
I mean, that's one of the amazing things about Harry Potter, isn't it? It's just continued. It just still has that reach. It still gets through to audiences just as it did 20 years ago.
So there are loads of people out there, I'm sure, who want to follow acting or follow something creative like this as a career. You clearly are a very happy story of it. You've had great memories. You've had some success so far. What have been the challenges, and what's your advice on kind of overcoming some of those things which are universally difficult?
That's a great question. What have the challenges been? There are a lot, you know, I think about my career and I realistically couldn't have had it easier or I couldn't have had it better. I couldn't have hoped for it to work out better. And even then, I think of moments that were very, very, very difficult for me because I guess one of the challenges with going into acting is not many people get into it because they think it's a solid career path. You know, people get into it because they love it and that's their passion and that's what they want to spend their life doing, which is wonderful. I think everyone should, if possible, everyone should have a job that they love and are passionate about. But I guess the problem then is if you don't get to do it, and it's such a sort of competitive industry, it feels awful. So I've had long periods of unemployment. You know, I had a year that I basically, in a whole year, I worked 10 days, maybe. I'd just done 7 months at the National Theatre. And I thought, and this was sort of really early in my career after I'd left university, and I thought, I'm set. I've been at the National. Do you know what I mean? For me, I was like, this is great. You know, I'll get jobs. And then I remember that play finished on the 1st of November, 2012. I didn't, except for 2 5-day telly jobs, I didn't work again till the 23rd of October, 2013 or something. So that was a huge period of time and just these, as I say, 2 5-day jobs in the middle. That was a real challenge. And I think one of the important things if you're faced with that kind of expanse of unemployment is find something that satisfies you, that feeds you. I mean that in both sense, literally, so you can put food on the table and you can pay your rent and do the things you need to do, but also something that satisfies you beyond that, something that gives you some kind of sense that you are working creatively, that you are still supple as an actor and supple as an artist. So that's about finding the other things that interest you and feed you and can tie into your acting. And also, acting is something that can be done, you know, isn't just dependent on a job at the National Theatre. You know, you can make work with your friends, you can write, you can work on scenes, you can work on monologues. I think I wasn't as proactive doing that kind of stuff as maybe I could have been, and I think I would have been better for it. So I think that's one of the things I would definitely say.
Can I ask also, fame's a funny thing. You're actually lucky because the Dean Thomas, you were a kid. You get away being pretty much just normal Alfie in London, I'm guessing, or you've told me in the past.
Yeah.
You don't get stopped all over the place, but you were part of this hugely, hugely successful show, which has crept over here too, but mainly in the States. How to Get Away with Murder, Viola Davis. You're on Netflix. You appear to be interviewed on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. Life goes a bit.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, well, I watched it and I was like, "That's just Alfie. What's he doing on Jimmy Kimmel?" And suddenly you're this like hugely recognizable face. Has that always been fun? Has it been weird? What are some of the kind of ups and downs of that side of the industry?
I'll start with this because this, I think, really is the most important thing. It is a beautiful and wonderful thing to have people see and enjoy your work, right? Ideally enjoy, as I say, but just to see it. You know, I've done shows in a theatre above a pub, and we had 3 actors and a stage manager, and we had 3 people in the audience. So we outnumbered them. Do you know what I mean? So to be stopped on the street and someone to say, "Oh, I can't believe whatever happened in How to Get Away with Murder," or "Oh, I really like that show," or whatever it is. That's a really lovely thing. Do you know what I mean? Because ultimately, the job is storytelling. And to tell a story, you need an audience. You need people who are willing to listen. So it is testament to that. So that is a really, really special thing, and I'm grateful for it. That said, I have a friend who said something to me. He said, the only part of a sentence you have to listen to is the bit after the but. And that's not true. And I don't want that anyone to take that from what I'm saying. But that said, it can be a strange thing because it makes you public in a way that you don't necessarily expect. And I want to talk about this very quickly because I think people imagine that if you're an actor, your objective is to be famous. Maybe that's true for some people. That's not my main objective. I'm not an actor because I want to be famous. I'm an actor because I want to act. I want to tell stories. And in a way, the form of the storytelling, the storytelling takes is playing other people, living other lives. So it's strange when you're stopped in your life and people, you know, sometimes have a strong affinity to you, and that's great. But, you know, I don't know, sometimes you're having a bad day or something, or sometimes you're in the middle of an argument with someone or whatever, and someone's like, "Oh, can I take a picture?" And it's strange to try and balance the, I guess responsibility is maybe a difficult word, but perhaps the responsibility you have to that person who's recognized you, who's seen your work, who's gone out their way to maybe say they liked it, and to the person that you're with. You know, I've had moments where I've sort of gone somewhere with a friend and it's been really dull for them because we've missed whatever we've gone to because I've just been taking pictures with people. I'm very grateful to be in that position, obviously, but sometimes it can be tricky. So, you know, it has its weirdnesses. And the other thing is, sadly, not everyone's lovely all of the time. But I mean, for the most part, no one's been like very nasty to me. It's just, you know, they don't always say, "Oh, I loved your work."
Well, my question was really about theatre and film. You, after playing How to Get Away with Murder, you then played Ken in Mark Rothko's Red at the National.
John Logan's Red. It was about
Mark Rothko. What was that like? And what's the scariest thing you've done on stage? Those are my 2 questions.
Red was a gift of a part and a job and an experience. I got to do this fantastic play, which is brilliantly composed and wonderfully sort of constructed, wonderfully crafted, which is a 2-hander with me and one of my favorite actors, Alfred, and it was just me and him on stage for an hour and a half. So when I sort of got the email through from my agent saying, "Oh, we've got you an audition for Red, they're doing it in the West End, Alfred Molina's coming back to play Rothko," I thought, I'm never. For a lot of reasons, I thought that's never going to come my way. So to get to do it was a real privilege and so much fun. And Alfred Molina is a wonderful person and a very generous actor, as well as being a wonderful actor. So it was just so much fun to get out on that stage and play with him. And that show that play is a real workout because there are a lot of big ideas and the stakes are very high and it's very intense. But it was an absolute privilege to do. In terms of maybe the most scary thing that I've done on stage,
what is it scary? Is it a scary thing, or do you ever get used to it? Those nerves?
I love it. Truthfully, I really love it. It's maybe one of the things that most gets me going. The first time, as I said, I did 2 plays actually at the National, and in the second play, I had, and they were sort of back to back. I had a soliloquy. I had a very small part, but wonderfully he had a soliloquy. So there's this scene where I was playing this servant who goes and asks for money on account of his master, and basically gets told no. And I just sort of go, basically, what a nasty piece of work this woman is. She's received all these favors from my master and she won't do them one back. And I turn out to the audience, and it was in the Olivier, which is like the biggest space of the National. And I just remember it was the exhilaration of, well, I imagine, I've never got to do it, but I would love to, of jumping out of a plane. It felt like a skydive. I mean, I was so thrilled just to be on that stage. In fact, and I'd been on that stage doing Antigone, which the play I did before. But to get to speak to the audience and face them was just one of the most thrilling things.
So quote Alfie Enoch, performing at the National is like jumping out of a plane. How about this, as concisely as you can? I mean, actors are always asked about film versus theatre. I know you're a passionate theatre actor. What is it that makes theatre special?
Live. That's it. How's that for concise? One word. I mean, it's people. Someone once said to me, "I don't like theatre." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Because it's not as realistic. You watch on television, you've got the explosions, you can see it all. You go on in the movie theatre, in a play, people just jump on the floor." And I said, "Well, yeah, but in a play, it's happening now. You're in the same space, breathing the same air as characters who are living the defining moments of their life. And it will never be the same again. That's it. It's gone. You are part of the moment. You are more actively involved in creating what is happening as an audience member. So that is the thing that I think is so special. It is like life. It's there in a moment and it's gone. It's not preserved. It's not watch it later. It's not put it on pause. It's not, oh, well, I'll come back next week and watch it again. That's it. That show is it. And so it makes it unique.
Do you then, the Harry Potter, do you ever watch those films back, or is that just gone?
I don't really. I hate watching myself. So, but I mean, probably I'd be safe with Harry Potter because I'm barely in it. But I came across. It was like on TV. I mean, I haven't like actively gone and watched it back, but one of them was on TV, and I remember just sort of sitting down for a bit, being like, "Goodness, it's like the second one or something." And it was just fascinating to sort of see how young everyone was. Myself, and you sort of start remembering, I remember when we did that, I'd forgotten that day, we were shooting that scene for 3 weeks, that took a long time, or whatever, you sort of remember what happens behind the action, as it were.
Yeah.
Well, before we let Walter loose on his favourite quickfire round, taking some of the questions we and everyone else is keen to ask, it's worth answering a couple of people's questions on here about when are you next performing. Alfie was all set to be playing right now. He'd be playing Romeo in Romeo and Juliet at London's Globe, the big outdoor Shakespeare theatre that I'm sure lots of you have been to. So Alfie, what's next for that? And I guess what are your hopes? And well, we're just keeping our fingers crossed that theatres can get back to normal as quickly as possible.
Yeah, very true. So in terms of Romeo and Juliet, you're right. We would have been sort of on stage. We would have been in the run at this stage. It's been postponed, so it hasn't been cancelled yet. So I say yet, hopefully it won't be cancelled at all. But, obviously it's a difficult moment for theatres who've got to kind of withstand the fact that they aren't making any money. No one's coming in to watch the plays. No one's buying tickets. So I know a lot of theatres are kind of making requests for donations. So if anyone feels so inclined and you want to support, a theatre that maybe is struggling, please do so. But I mean, the hope is that, when people are allowed to gather in the kind of numbers that you need to fill the Globe, which is about 1,500 people, we'll be able to put it on. So that's very much kind of the hope. that
Fingers
we'll
crossed.
get to do it.
I'm sure it'll happen. Right, we're gonna give you some quick questions, and we'll alternate. Walter, so you kick us off.
Okay, so Alfie, this is the part where we take questions from the crowd, and as Hen said, this just gives us an excuse to ask the questions that we really want to ask. So
Correct.
I'm going to start with we're going to start with Jemima's question. Who was your best friend in the Harry Potter series?
Matt Lewis. He played Neville Longbottom. We were very tight. He was the person I was. Yeah, Matt.
Perfect.
Favorite movie?
God, I have a couple. Godfather 1, Godfather 2, a French film called Jules Jim. What else? City of God, Cidade de Deus, Brazilian film. I think that's sensational. A movie by Steve McQueen called Shame, which I think is fantastic. There's a film I watched very recently, which is exceptional, called Corpus Christi, which is a Polish film. So those are a few. And Wall-E. Wall-E is one of my favorite films.
Nice.
Good list.
Okay. Hugo says, Alfie, what's your dream role? Is it James Bond?
Yeah, that would be fun, wouldn't it? I mean, I guess I haven't dreamt of that one because I think I look too gangly and not imposing and impressive enough to play James Bond.
Daniel
But
Craig was gangly.
What?
Daniel Craig was gangly once.
That's true. It's true. It's only going to be 10,000 hours in the gym, and then it can be me too. I don't know. Yes, that would be fun. I don't know what else. I mean, lots of Shakespearean parts I want to play. I'm geeky about my Shakespeare, so about 5. Pick out any 5 of them, and probably I'd like to do.
Sure.
Funniest moment on Harry Potter sets?
So bad at this.
Really?
My memory is awful. Funniest moment. I'm gonna pass. I'm sorry. I can't
fine.
think. Oh,
Favorite
well,
book?
I've got one. Well, it wasn't
Go
a funniest moment, but I don't know if I should say. I've said this before. I went streaking. We were actually the funny thing about it, I guess, was my big plan was to go before the end of the movies to go streaking through the Great Hall. And I was I got all G'd up, and a couple of us went down because they were going to cheer me on, and I was hoping that maybe they'd join me, so I wasn't just a lone naked runner, which would have looked a bit more sorry than if you had company. But we got to the Great Hall, and it was locked up, so we couldn't. So then there was a security guard around, and it just felt like it'd be a bit of a damp squib if we didn't do anything. So I ended up streaking through the Ministry of Magic instead. But that was my second choice.
Never have I ever streaked through the Ministry of Magic. Time for one more, Walter.
I was going to ask about J.K. Rowling because hundreds of people have asked, what's she like in a few words?
Oh, I don't feel like I know her well enough to sort of speak about her very authoritatively, but obviously I met her, several times over the course of the 10 years I was doing the films. She was always really lovely. She always took time to come and sit with us and just be friendly and be there. I think that was one of the really special things about it, is that we were very well looked after. People made space for us. A film set can be a very stressful, intense place, and everyone went out their way to make sure that we felt that it was our space and we weren't just getting told off all the time, though we did get told off. but that's because we deserved it. But so yeah, Jo Rowling was really just lovely, and I just remember one time she joined us all at lunch and was just paid very patiently and graciously answering our questions as we were all sort of excited to be talking to her, and she was always there, and she was always warm, and she was always approachable, which is really lovely.
Nice.
Well, to take you back to the Great Hall, but this time I hear with a Rivita cracker. Is that correct?
Oh, yes. A dark
finish off, Alfie, which is a simple one. We're a bit like a Top Gear knockoff. We have a leaderboard. We have
I love it.
And everyone's timed. You get 30 seconds to try and get your cracker or biscuit from your forehead to your mouth without using your hands. So you're going to...
okay. So it's got
forehead.
Yeah,
you could probably make that a little smaller if you want.
Okay.
But
I don't have to eat it.
It's just got to get to your mouth and then in your mouth.
I'm just trying to think what shape is going to be ideal.
That's got quite good grip, I think, whereas my digestion is a slippery one.
Yeah.
No, don't go. Qualify.
The idea is, Alfie, that when people are at the Globe and they're watching you do this amazing soliloquy on stage, they're going to be like, well, he sucks at biscuit face.
Well, does he?
Or does he? We'll find out.
Guess we'll see. Okay, so I put it there, and then you'll time it once at the appropriate time.
Walter's going to compete against you. We're nearly ready to start. You've got 30 seconds. If you drop it, you can have another go as many times as you want.
Okay, so I should just go reckless need for speed.
My advice would be don't go reckless need for speed. Speed at the top is going to hurt you badly.
Okay, interesting.
Ryvita against McVitie's.
All right, everyone at home is trying as well. Get your phones out. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Damn!
I like the blinking. The blinking is. Oh,
this is difficult. Very hard.
Just one.
No, that was too ambitious.
How's the Ryvita working out?
It's actually very difficult because it's too grippy. Oh my days! This is gonna.
Last attempt.
Woeful performance.
Oh, and we're stopping there.
Oh really?
Oh, you can keep going. Let's see if you can get it.
Oh! It's really. I think you start a new one with Ryvita crackers. See if anyone can do it.
It's a tough one. We did have actually the lady Dara who was with us on Friday. She had a sort of Ryvita, but I think it was without the kind of bobbly nuts on it and seeds. So it was a little smoother. Also, men with facial hair doesn't help.
Oh, really? That's what you've learned in your extensive research.
Those big, handsome eyebrows, Alfie, that we share.
Yes, they've been my downfall before.
Yeah. Alfie, thank you so much for joining us.
No, what pleasure. Thank you guys for having me.
We've run drastically over, but I think we had to for the sake of all these kids who are loving it, listening to you. Thank you so much. And please promise us, if you get that great gig as James Bond, you will come back on.
Yeah, okay. I made that promise.
You won't reject our emails. All right.
Yes, I might need a bigger screen so I can fit on it. But yeah, that's a promise.
Thank you.
Alfie, thank you so much.
Much love, guys. Take care.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.